This is Scheme to Death with football columnist Murf Baldwin, delving deep into scheme and personnel as only he can do. And now, your host, Murf Baldwin.
What's good, my top Billin villains? Yes, sir. Top Billin villains. Not top Billin. I don't know what that is, right? People be killing me with that. Yeah, cats coming in here, top Billin. I'm like, wait, what? Nah, we're top Billin villains out here. I don't know. I thought it was clear. You get a lot of people who get it, and you get some who just don't. So we're just going to clarify that, right? Top Billin villains, all my people out there. So, but shout outs to my folks over at BetUS for sponsoring this episode. Good looking to them. Once again, shout outs to everybody out in British Columbia, right? Vancouver. Shout outs to everybody in Oregon. Big shout outs to Northern California. Shout outs to the state of Washington, Seattle. A lot of people out there representing your boy back here on the East Coast, right? Alaska, right? Alaska people always running down on me. So, what about Alaska? I'm like, damn, Seattle has some serious reach out there. You wouldn't know that if you were a neutral observer from the East Coast. So, which kind of dovetails into something, right? I would see a lot of people come to the channel and they talk about East Coast bias. And I can see that to a certain degree. I think you would have to pick certain teams that may get the benefit of the doubt, or they get certain coverage out here from being in the media capital of the world. Now, a team like the New York Giants, yeah, for sure. But historically, my New York Jets haven't really been covered like that. You know what I mean? Like, they'll get something every once in a while if they get hot or something like that. But man, think about it. When the last time the Jets won a title or been really in the mix, right? With Rex Ryan, my man Rex Ryan, a couple of times. But other than that, man, I think they just get regular coverage. And there are plenty of teams on the East Coast I think should get covered even more. Like the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, historically to me, probably a top 3 to 5 franchise damn near since its existence in 1996. That is a hell of a franchise right there. It is the hardest team in the league. I will say that continuously. No matter what they do, they stand pat on a certain type of football under John Harbaugh, which was carried over from Brian Billick, and which will now be carried to your Seattle Seahawks. So it's a great segue right there by your boy. You know I be getting it down. Y'all going to have to give me props for my media prowess. Y'all going to have to give me props for my entertainment value. And you will never, ever, ever lose sight of the fact that your boy be educating y'all like you wouldn't believe with the football knowledge. So I try to bring it well-rounded. Try to make sure that, man, this saturated market, right? I remember starting out on YouTube. It's been about 6 years now. We're getting close to 7. And, man, wasn't that many people on YouTube, especially doing what I do. Now you can see 1 billion people trying to do what I do. And you're going to have to give me my props. A lot of these people are doing it from them watching me do it. Well, he's bragging and all this. I'm being correct. I'm being true. A lot of these people were commenting on my channel as fans, and the next thing you know, they have their own channel and they're trying to mimic what they see. And a lot of people even told me I inspired them to do YouTube and all this and that, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? No doubt about that. That's pretty cool to a certain extent. I'm a lifelong competitor from playing sports, right? And I've played every sport. And I wasn't just playing the sport to play it. I was a great athlete, fantastic athlete, and very successful playing sports. So will always be a competitor at heart. So if you're on YouTube, I consider you a competitor. That's just how my mind is wrapped, especially when we're talking about feeding my family. So I always feel like people are trying to take food off my plate. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be another content creator or even some of the fans, right? Some of the fans are trying to do that, right? Because they're just haters, right? They wish they could be in my shoes, so they'll do anything and everything to try to impact me because I impact them. right? You don't hate on something that you're not passionate about. But these people are passionate about me. I impact them somehow, so, you know what I'm saying, they got to continue to hate. But we don't let them hate over here at Top Billin, right? All my Top Billin villains who ride with me, y'all got support, and we have a good time. So 1 week out from the season, yeah, you guys are riding high, and you should be riding high because I love what Seattle did in the offseason, culminating to what it did in the preseason, and we're talking about personnel and matching that personnel with scheme.
Michael Vick at BetUS.com. Catch an incredible 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. BetUS, my online sportsbook and casino.
A cat like Laviska Shenault, right? That flew under the radar for most people. People probably weren't thinking about, oh, yeah, this guy's a bust. I've never heard of this guy, you know what I'm saying, and this and that. But identifying somebody like a Laviska Shenault and then implementing him into your offense, and it seems like Ryan Grubb is doing a damn good job of that. I love what I saw from him in the preseason. I may have to, you know what I'm saying, double back on that before the season starts and really hone into that. You can make a case for him being the 4th receiver, even over my man Bobo, right? That's just because of the style of touches that he get. So he's not going to necessarily interfere with the type of touches that Lockett Launcher would get, that Mayan Jigba, Jackson Smith and Jigba get, or Dennis Rodman Jr. himself, DK Metcalf, because he's going to be the make-it-from-scratch guy. He's physical enough to run the ball in the backfield. So he's almost like having a 4th running back. We'll get to that here in a second, of course. But, of course, him on hitches, screens, reverses, all these make-it-from-scratch type plays, he's money. Absolute money, man. A big physical guy like that with good playing speed. He may not have timed well in the 40, but his playing speed is phenomenal to me. So he's a weapon and a half. Jake Bobo, to me, is being held back by the guys who are in front of him. He's not that type of receiver. You wouldn't let him do what Laviska Shenault does. But I would certainly let him do what Lockett Launcher does, or in Smith and Jigba, or even DK Metcalf. He's that type of receiver. I think he can be very good in the league. He just so happens to be playing behind people. We've seen that historically in sports, right? I love baseball, you know what I mean? I love all sports, though, you know what I'm saying? As I'm getting older, I love more sports than I did even as a kid, right? Catch me at the Rock, the Prudential Center, watching my New Jersey Devils, you know what I mean, in hockey, and it was something that I liked coming up, but wasn't something I paid much attention to. But now I pay a lot of attention to it, and I love going to hockey games. You know what I'm saying? I'll be dragging my wife out there. She's a trooper, though. She, you know what I'm saying, she'll ride for the cause. But she seems to like hockey pretty cool, right? You know what I'm saying? She pay attention a little bit at least, right? She don't like baseball, though. She hate it, right? We had the Yankees game, and she's up there in her phone and stuff. She said baseball is boring, but I can find a lot of entertainment in baseball. Grew up playing it and all that. So historically, you've had guys, think about some of these catchers who were blocked from getting to where they needed to go because you had someone in front of them, right? Whether it be like now that I'm thinking about it, I can't come off with some examples, right? It's usually catches I always see, or even shortstops and people like that. And you're like, damn, this guy will be good. Maybe he gets a 15-day call-up or something like that. And you're like, wow, he's good. He may be as good as the guy in front of him. However, he's blocked because this guy's a veteran and he's tried, true, and solidified and has a contract. So you're always doing that. But a guy like Jake Bobo, without those guys, if one of those guys goes down, knock on wood for you guys, Jake Bobo could step right in, and I don't think they will miss a beat. And I'm talking about he can do it all, right? You know, people want to focus on certain things and certain aspects every time he plays, which we will not do here at Top Billin. I just know that he can get the job done, in my opinion, right? So that's just my analysis of it. So a guy like that, a guy like Laviska Shenault, being able to work in a guy like Kenny McIntosh, and I'm just talking about the fringe players. Think about that. These are reserve players that I'm talking about who could have really good impact on your team. That lets you know that your team is very deep. A lot of people just can't go past the front line guys. Sometimes you don't need to. Maybe they don't get injured or something like that, but it's football. More than likely, injuries are going to happen, and more than likely, something's going to happen to where you have to rely on somebody else, which we all know, all of us real football heads, and you need those guys to where you don't take much of a drop-off. Now, it could be a little bit of a drop-off. It just can't be something that's stark. It can't be something that is just absolutely out of control. You're like, damn, this guy's a 2, and my guy before him was an 8 or a 9. You know what I mean? So I don't think Seattle has those problems at those type of positions, right? With a running back, receiver. So some people have remarked about tight end. One guy even asked me about Seattle trading for Kyle Pitts. My man Kyle Pitts, right, one of my favorite all-time college players. I did big work with Kyle Pitts on this channel, right? Kind of blew up my Florida content behind Kyle Pitts, who I dubbed Checkmate, right? No matter where you would put him at in Florida's offense, it was checkmate. Nobody could guard this guy. He was out wide. He looked like the best wide receiver out wide. Mid-line, right, or mid position, right, inside the slot, flexed off, couldn't do nothing with him, right? If he's matched up on a linebacker, forget about it. Hell, if he's matched up on a DB, they're just too small. A checkmate, right? Even putting him in line, I thought that getting him out into a route against inside players, whether it be a strong safety and all that, more times than not, he was going to win. Now, I don't know what's going on with him in the NFL, right? That was the team that I stopped covering, actually, right? Stopped covering that team to cover the Seattle Seahawks, the Atlanta Falcons. So I haven't really had the time to really hone in on what's going on with him. If it's a quarterback thing, which it could be because they keep switching quarterbacks, so that's always a sign. He still had a 1,000-yard receiving season as a rookie, I believe. So... But even beyond that, man, I would have to see what's going on. Did his blocking improve? Right? That was a knock on him before. Was he a willing blocker, and would it improve? I believe he was a willing blocker. He just needs to improve in that. You could tell he spends a lot of time with his footwork. He has Jackson Smith and Jigba type footwork at 6'6", 240-something pounds. He's amazing in that aspect there. However, it's not translating in the NFL. Should the Seattle Seahawks trade for a guy like that? I wouldn't, right? Roll with no offense. You know why? Because you have so many weapons. What's adding in another weapon like that going to do? You have a ton of mouths to feed. You're going to add in somebody like Kyle Pitts? No offense, with the time with the time and the catches that he may get, I think he can do a lot with it. And not to mention, he's definitely a ready and willing blocker. So those type of aspects will probably go a long way for the Seattle Seahawks than adding in another potential premium pass catcher. What, are you going to take targets away from DK Metcalf? Is that going to go well with him? Is that going to sit well with him? No, I don't believe he's a good teammate in that aspect. I think he'll pout. If things not going his way, he's not getting the ball, he's going to pout no matter what. I've seen Seattle winning, and it looked like he was pouting before. So you got to feed that guy. You have to feed it Smith and Jigba. With no DK Metcalf on the team, Jackson Smith and Jigba is a superstar. We see him all around, right? He looks like every one of those guys who are superstars right now in the NFL. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and those guys. That's him. He was on their level in college. But he just so happens to have a veteran in front of him who's very good in DK Metcalf. And he has to have a veteran that's at least a potential team, a guy. I don't know if you guys will hang his jersey in the rafters, but he's played his entire year there, and he's been very successful. And Tyler Lockett, that guy happens to be in front of him as well, at least theoretically speaking. So, you know what I mean? You want to add in another pass catcher? You got Jake Bobo. You have those running backs who can catch passes out of the backfield. You have perhaps, let me see. Man, I'm rolling with Breece Hall. That's my guy from the Jets. Yeah. I wouldn't Kenneth Walker, I think, is as good as Breece Hall. He could perhaps be the best running back in the NFL. Or at the very least, top 5. I'm always going to err on the side of caution and err on the side of not putting somebody number one like a lot of you Seattle Seahawks fans do, right? That's a pet peeve of mine. Every time you guys get something, it's always the best or the number one. It just doesn't work that way, Jack. There are a lot of people in the NFL and a lot of people that you guys don't pay attention to be saying that someone who's on your team is the very best. Conservatively speaking, saying top 5 is usually good, especially if you want to show you actually know something about football, right? That's just homer talk. Oh, yeah, this guy, DK Metcalf's the best wide receiver in the NFL. No, sorry, buddy. There are other receivers who are just as good as DK Metcalf, if not better. DK Metcalf, top 5 receiver in the NFL? Yeah, arguably, right? DK Metcalf outside of the top 10? Yeah, arguably. So that's why you can't just say someone is the best. But as far as Kenneth Walker goes, you can make an argument for sure that he's definitely one of the top 5. Now, he has to show it. He didn't have a year last year that would suggest that, right? He would suggest that he may be outside of the top 5. But regardless, talent-wise, he's that dude. Shouldn't you feed him, right? You're going to have to feed him carries. You're going to have to feed Charbonnet some carries. You're going to have to feed both of those guys some catches as well. Yeah, trading for Kyle Pitts may sound good, but I'm not sure that it makes sense. Especially with what you would have to give up for a Kyle Pitts. He's still Kyle Pitts. He has that name value, and we remember what he did in college, and we've seen some of the stuff that he can do in the NFL. I don't know. That's just the type of GM that I would be. I would be very conservative with team chemistry, first and foremost, and I would be conservative with giving up first and second round draft picks on guys who have not or who are available to be on my team after being high-profile draft picks. Usually that means something. So in the case of Kyle Pitts, I don't think it does. I think on the right team,
he can tell that. When you're able to get him the ball in space and he's traveling, he can outrun defensive backs. He's a big dude who can absolutely motor, right? He's got solid hands. He's a fairly good route runner. Yeah, I don't know why people not seeing it with Noah Fant. He just happens to be on a very stacked offense. So one with a quarterback who spreads the ball around. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure what's going on with that. But beyond that, man, the offensive line. Now, people ask me to name the warts on the team. It still remains to be seen if the offensive line has been corrected. Even the guys who I think have the talent, like a Charles Cross, he still didn't play that well to me last year. And regardless of the injury, right, I will give him a pass for last year with the injury, no doubt about that. But even in his first year, even in his rookie season, I thought he was a bit suspect. I knew when something was popping, more than likely Charles Cross was involved at the time there. But don't get me wrong, he's still extremely talented and can put it all together. Abraham Lucas's injury history right now has become a problem. So then you have to factor in a guy like George Fant, right, and maybe a Stone Feet Forsythe, which is incredible to me. I said it before. Stone Feet Forsythe undoubtedly has pictures of John Schneider in uncompromising positions, right? Sometimes, you know what I mean? I don't know. Sometimes your life gets a little sideways, right? And you get caught doing some crazy shit, right? You just don't want it to be caught on camera like Stone Feet Forsythe. So he was stalking John Schneider, and he caught him. He caught him in an uncompromising situation, right? So he got caught up. So now he has a lifetime pass. He keeps threatening to show those pictures. So John Schneider's like, damn it. So he's on the team still. So, he's played some ball. I mean, at the very least, you can say he's a veteran. One positive thing about Stone Feet Forsythe, he's a veteran at this point, a young veteran. Yeah, that's it. Both guard slots, Anthony Bradford. Yeah, Anthony Bradford had some moments last year where I was like, okay, Anthony Bradford is that guy. He's very physical. He's going to definitely punch a man in his mouth and look at him in his eyes and be like, what? What are you going to do about it? Then there was other times I'm like, oh, shit, Anthony Bradford getting overpowered. Right? Anthony Bradford blowing assignments and everything. That's the nature of the beast when you're that young of a player. Anthony Bradford could take the next step. That would be dope. But then again, you drafted Christian Haynes. Are those guys in a battle with each other? Can Christian Haynes slide in at the left guard slot? But then you sign a veteran in Laken Tomlinson. Obviously, I'm super familiar with Laken Tomlinson, being as though he was a Jet. not a big Laken Tomlinson fan. I don't think he's that good. Maybe he's had moments in the past. Maybe he can revive it in Seattle with a change of scenery. But yeah, you see I didn't do anything on Laken Tomlinson when he was signed. So that right there, my silence spoke volumes on Laken Tomlinson. But man, beyond that, man, you're talking about some rookies. Like I said before, get the 5 best out there. If Connor Williams is the guy at center, hopefully, you know what I mean, for you guys, knock on wood, his injury is good. Man, why not let Oluwatimi slide at one of these guard spots in the time being? That's usually how you do it anyway. I let him, and then something happens to Connor Williams, he just slides over to center. When I give him a chance to see if he's better than a Laken Tomlinson or even an Anthony Bradford or Christian Haynes, right? Put him in the mix somewhere. Just having him on the bench, to me, with him as talented as he's been, as talented as he was in college for sure, but even what I saw from him last season, I think that Oluwatimi has some, you know what I mean? He's got it, in my opinion. So only one way to tell is to get this man some reps. But hey, it is what it is on that front there. All in all, though, I think there's really good depth, right, at just about every skill position. We know about Yosemite Sam Howell backing up Grubb at Geno Smith. And the disrespect that people were telling me that some of these websites or TV channels and stuff like that putting on Geno Smith, I can think is only going to motivate this dude. And he looks extremely polished right now to begin with. And it was nothing but positive vibes coming up out of camp with Geno Smith. And people still, you know what I mean, want to do what they do. So, I mean, it is what it is. Yosemite Sam Howell, learning behind him, that's pretty good there. He's got some stuff to work on, but he's got a little bit of talent himself. We already talked about the trio of running backs. We talked about all the guys at receiver. The people don't like the tight end position. I mean, hopefully Noah Fant will wake people up on that. Farrell Brown is an excellent addition because of his blocking. To me, you don't even need another pass-catching tight end. Like I said before, you need blockers, and Farrell Brown is that. That dude can block his ass off. And then you have the off-maligned group of offensive linemen. We shall see how that shapes up. But all in all, I believe Seattle can have a top 10 offense. Could possibly push top 5 depending on how it goes, but we don't know how good Ryan Grubb actually is at the NFL level. When the going gets tough, the tough get going, and we don't know if he's built like that yet in the NFL. It's just a completely different league. You can make a case that your man, Cliff Kingsbury, I've said it before, that dude was the truth in college. You know what I mean? He looked decent in the NFL as an offensive mind. And that was with Kyler Murray, who I think the world of as a quarterback, and DeAndre Hopkins, all kind of guys. He had some talent there, and it wasn't like he was replicating what he was doing at Texas Tech University and at where was he at before that? University of Houston with Johnny Manziel and them. So, yeah. Let me know what you think about that, right? Probably on the next pod, we can go into the defense here. So trying to, in the interest of time, just talk about the offense. So I felt like I went over that, right? Guys like Michael Jarrell and Jalen Sundell and all these guys as well. Hopefully that those guys won't play, but the fact that they've made the team, right? The Satoa kid as well. Yeah. Your man John Schneider be doing the thing. You cannot front, right? As a neutral observer, he's one of these guys I'll be looking at like, oh, okay, this guy's really good at his job. Same deal with Mickey Loomis, my man out in New Orleans. I always thought like, damn, this guy's damn good. Whomever's in Baltimore is always doing the damn thing. But Eric DeCosta, EDC, every dollar counts. That man is the truth. Of course, Howie Roseman with the Philadelphia Eagles is very good. The San Francisco 49ers, you got to give them guys credit. Well, they always have a stacked roster, and they build from the inside out. Yeah, these are some of the people that stand out to me as far as talent and personnel execs go. It's going to be fun, man. I can already feel it, man. Happy Labor Day to everybody out there, too. No doubt about that. Much love to the people there But yo, if you're a Karen or a Mel Karen, go ahead and click off right now. The podcast is done for you. I got to do kind of a dumbass of the week segment, right? I gotta get some of this stuff off my chest for real, right? You had the dude on there, right, with the I forget his name, Carnage or something like Sean Carnage. The dude talking about Holani versus McIntosh, right? He wanted to go off the deep end with that. After I had said on, it might have been a podcast, right? Or it was a video or something like that where I said, listen, I'm not trying to get involved in some goofy battles or something that's not my team, because people know that I covered Kenny McIntosh, and I said that the Seahawks would draft Kenny McIntosh way before the draft, and then they ended up drafting the guy, and he's clearly talented. Like I said, there's just somebody that I was able to cover by covering the University of Georgia since the guy was a senior in high, or right after his senior year in high school, having to do those film studies on their signing class. So I just know the dude's talent. I've seen every carry he had at the University of Georgia, and not only seeing it, doing the film studies, just like I do for the Seattle Seahawks, or I do for the Seattle Seahawks, right? So I'm just familiar with his skill set. There's no knock against George Holani. He's a talented guy. I've seen him in passing. He's not somebody that I just studied. He's not somebody that I go back and try to trust my judgment on somebody because I'll go and watch a few games of them and then call that a film study. No, there's a huge difference when you cover someone season in and season out. I just had a very familiar way, or knowing Kenny McIntosh's way, a very good familiarity with that. That's it. So trying to battle me and wanting to be competitive with me about other men, that shit is corny to me, man. So I don't understand you guys. Don't understand. We're not from the same culture. A lot of the shit that you guys think is cool to me is just mad corny. It's just a different vibe and a different type of time that I'm on. It doesn't make you less than me or me more superior than you. It's just differences of life. All right, we'll chalk it up to that. But disregarding what somebody says when I say, listen, I'm not trying to get involved in that. We're talking about potentially the third and fourth back on a loaded offense that has about 10 people to target, right? Like, was this really something to get into? It's like you guys always get in these little camp stories and like you don't have shit to do in life and you want to hop off the train, right, and jump on the tracks for a undrafted free agent running back. Is it that serious to you, man? No, I said I don't want to be involved in that. But then this dude comes and he's like, oh, yeah, I would bet money that Holani makes it. I don't think the staff likes McIntosh. They were giving him carries to trade him or to possibly advertise him for a trade and all this and that. And I simply remarked, like, well, I mean, how are you deriving this? Or, I mean, like, why don't you think that they, you know what I'm saying? It was rhetorical. And I mean, I just wanted somebody to say, yeah, I heard from another dude, which it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like hearsay this and hearsay that. You're not formulating your own opinion. You're just going by what somebody says who may not even know anything about football. So, you know what I mean? That was just that right there. But then you talking about when somebody says that and you come and you don't even acknowledge the situation of what's going on in the video and you're just like, oh, yeah, George Holani this, George Holani that. And it's like, wow. Like, you know what I'm saying? You completely that's disrespectful as hell. If a man says this and it's only on the internet, you wouldn't approach somebody in real life like that. If they're talking about something, you wouldn't come and disregard what they're talking about. You get your teeth knocked down your throat, right? You be shitting teeth. That's just how it is, right? Especially out here. So that shit is crazy to me. But then to say, like, I would bet money that I would bet a couple of stacks or something, like a few stacks. Like, to me, you don't say shit out there like that because that's considered a one-way bet. Nobody asked for a bet. This is something that you brought up. If you a man about something like that, wouldn't you go ahead and pony up the bread? You're like, you know what, I was messed up. Let me send you something, right? The dude tried to come. He felt guilty about it for me, and he looked dumb as fuck for saying it, right, and sent $2. And didn't want to have some type of attitude problem, right, when I was calling him out on some goofy shit like that. It's just like, yeah, we got to get these type of people off the channel. So, you know what I'm saying, adios, right? And you had some other cat up there talking about we're going to make you a 12. I'm like, dude, how many times we have to go through this? I'm not a fan of your team. It's never going to happen. I'm covering your team. I've covered plenty of teams, right? Because you see me covering your team, guess what? Some other fan base felt the same way about me covering their team at one particular point in time. That would be the New Orleans Saints. That would be the Atlanta Falcons. That would be the Baltimore Ravens. All these teams that I've covered before. And then the fans like, oh, shit, is he a fan of our team because he covers them? And then I don't cover the team no more. Then it's like, oh, shit, he wasn't a fan. he's a fan of the teams that he said he's a fan of, right? I'm a grown-ass man. I can tell you who I'm a fan of. I don't say we or us with the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not wearing Seahawks gear. I don't talk about wanting to go to Seattle. Invite me out to games and want me to see. I don't care about none of that. It's not going to happen, B. I'm here to cover your team in a neutral state. I'm here to be a professional. Y'all should really enjoy that. Someone's giving you a neutral point of view. I'm telling you exactly what I think. I'm not trying to pander to nobody. Does it look like I'm trying to pander to somebody? Right? I be pissing people off. I don't give a damn. That just is what it is. So, you know what I'm saying? You guys should definitely like that there. So, let me see. There was some other people that were jumping off the roof with it too. But hey, there we go. I got that one on my chest. Dumbasses of the week, right? So no, don't be approaching me with like that, man. Make sure that we get these guys out. I'm gonna start highlighting people who are actually good viewers. They're good commenters and people like that. We'll start highlighting those guys right there, right? And this is getting these other guys the hell up out of there with the block button. So trying to 86 these dudes before the season starts so we can have some positive vibes going into the season and we can really break it down like how you guys really like, all right? That being said, man, big shout-outs to the guys over at BetUS. Get 125% match bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go over to BetUS and use that dang description link or the pinned comment link, man. Get it in for your boy. Make sure you're supporting the sponsors out there, man. They do it real big over at BetUS, and I appreciate those guys. And I appreciate the people who support, whether it be through the sponsors or other means, if you get what I'm saying there. So much love to you guys out there, man. We're going to keep mobbing, baby. It's Top Billin' Villain for life. You know how we do it, baby. We have fun. We educate. We talk trash. You get the whole gamut. I advertised this before, and will remain true as long as I'm on the internet doing this. This is a locker room atmosphere. So I always cringe when people talk about, well, I watch with my kid and my son and all this. I'm like, don't watch me. You see the type of stuff that I be talking about. Like, come on, have some discretion about yourself. Dude be coming over here. There's nothing, right? I like the old intro. I watch with my girlfriend. I'm like, what? Like, why you watching this with your girlfriend first and foremost? You know damn well I don't give a damn what intro you like. I'm doing me. So I didn't ask you about the original. I didn't consult with you about the original one. It is what it is, right? My intro is going to be my intro. That old one is now the outro. What more can I say? Top Billin' is literally fits an outro for that. But that's not my song. Everybody should know there we go. There was another dude, Gold or something like that, a complete goofball. Right, he's the guy that said Top Billin', and I explained to him that he wants to get an attitude. He's like, what is a top billin' anyway? I'm like, oh, here we go, cornball alert. Yeah, Top Billin' is a huge song in my culture, and out on the East Coast, a lot of people should know about audio too. Milk is chillin', Giz is chillin'. What more can I say? Top Billin', that's what you want. You got it good if you understand. You know what I'm saying? That song was hot back in I believe the late 80s. So it's been a hood staple. It's been a music staple for a long time. And of course it's been sampled over and over and over in rap music. So, you know what I'm saying? When people come out their mouth and they're like, what is the Top Billin' all this? That's what I'm saying. It's just a culture disconnect. You know what I mean, you were to say that. You saw me somewhere in New York, somewhere, and you said that, right? I'd have to I'm gonna be honest with you, I'd probably have to tornado slap you. That's mad disrespectful. What is this? You know what I mean? Get some culture about yourself. You know, stop trying to be cute. That's all I gotta say. All right, your boy, Jersey Murf, much love to the people out there. Much love to everybody out there. Salute. We'll catch you on the next one, all right?